Please be kind and rewind because I'm about ready to journey back to the 90s to show off my entire VHS collection. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, and welcome to Mid-Level Media. I'm Ken and I'm here today with another big time collection video. I've done a lot of these on this channel. I actually have a collection playlist which you guys can check out right now, where I've shown off my entire Blu-ray collection. I did my entire DVD collection about a month or so ago. And today I'm going to be showing off my entire VHS collection. You know, I knew there was a reason that I kept these things around this long, because a lot of these movies, guys, like I've said, I'm a little on the older side. I'm in my mid-30s, so I've been a physical media collector since day one. Like some of these VHS tapes I've had since I was literally 7, 8 years old. I used to go to Walmart, I used to go to Targets, wherever movies were sold back then. I imagine it was the same setup as it is today. I would grab movies. I would ask my parents to buy them for me. I loved movies. I've always loved movies, and this proves it right here, guys, because I've got about at least 100, 120 VHS tapes from my childhood. Now, some of these I have picked up in recent months at like Goodwills and thrift stores and stuff like that, ones that I thought looked cool, and I'm going to try to pick out which one of those I've picked up recently and which one of those I've had since I was a kid, a teenager, or whatever. I've got a lot of weird, obscure ones. And when I was going through some of these, I was shocked at like some of them that I actually had, but I remember owning them, that I actually still had in my collection. So this is a very wide array of films and genres and stuff. Obviously I have a huge horror VHS collection that I'm going to get into, but just a lot of really random titles, classic titles, a lot of great movies that I remember watching and rewatching, putting in that VCR, playing it to completion, rewinding it, playing it again. Just so many fond memories with these movies that I want to try to dig into, but I don't want to make this like an hour and a half long video. I'm going to try to get it in at like a clean 45 minutes, but we'll see. We'll see how long it takes me. But without further ado, guys, let's get into it. Let's get into my collection. I'm going to do, and just to let you know, I'm going to do a very little editing to this video. So if I mess up, if I stumble a bit, it's probably just going to stay in there, because I want this to be a more natural conversation on me just going through my collection, because a lot of these movies is going to be a blast from the past and going to be so awesome to kind of revisit with you guys. But if you haven't already, guys, I'll remind you a couple times, if you're just now stumbling upon this channel, if you were looking up VHS collections on YouTube and you stumbled upon Mid-Level Media, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I do all kinds of great physical media based content on this channel. I do a weekly physical media based report where I go over all the new releases. I do weekly Blu-ray hunts. I do collection videos like this. I've actually got another one that I'm going to be doing later on this week, which I'll announce at the end of this episode. A lot of physical media based content. I do reviews. I'm in the middle of a Friday the 13th slasher review series right now on my channel. Yeah, thrift hunts, thrifting blogs, all kinds of great content centered around physical media, movies, movie reviews, all that great stuff. So definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. But let's get into it, guys. We got a lot of movies to get through, and I'm excited to get through them and revisit them with you. The first two that I'm going to go over, guys, because it's around Christmas time, we're getting ready to get into the Christmas season. By the time that this video goes up, because it is pre-recorded, Thanksgiving will have been over, and we are dead in the middle of the holiday season. So the first one up, guys, is Home Alone 2. And don't ask me why I don't have the first Home Alone. I don't know. I have Home Alone 2 on VHS, and that is it, though. I remember loving this one as a kid. As a kid, I liked this one more than the first, just because of it was bigger and badder, and it was in the city. It just felt cooler. I love the cast: Tim Curry, Rob Schneider, everybody in this movie, hilarious. Love Home Alone 2. So definitely glad that I have that on VHS, though, because I honestly didn't remember having it. Next one up, guys. Now, this is one I haven't always owned. I think I found it at a Goodwill. I thought it looked cool, so I grabbed it. Christmas Story. I really like the cover on this VHS. So yeah, this is one that I always remember watching as a kid on TBS, but not actually having a physical copy of it. Now I've got a Blu-ray of it. It actually needs a 4K. I think it really needs a 4K, but the DVD of this I also own, but the VHS is pretty awesome. I love the artwork on this one. So Christmas Story. Next one, this was another Goodwill find. This is a movie I've never seen, and it's actually not even out of the wrapping yet. It's called Public Eye with Joe Pesci. I just found it at Goodwill for some reason a couple of years ago, and I bought it. I don't know why. I just saw Joe Pesci, and I was like, you know, Joe Pesci was in Home Alone. He's probably good in other stuff too, right? Dude, Where's My VHS? Dude, Where's My Car is the next movie that I'm going to go over, guys. I cannot believe I have this on VHS. So this was probably at the tail end of the VHS era, because this movie came out, I believe in 2000, 2001, if I'm not mistaken. That was around the time we were transitioning over. So I was kind of surprised that I had this, because I didn't remember owning a VHS copy. If anything, I thought I might have had a DVD. But yeah, VHS copy of Dude, Where's My Car? Let's see if it was rewound. Nope. It looks like I'm right at the tail end of the movie, and I did not rewind it. So I'm not going to do that for every movie, but here and there I might do it, because I always think that's interesting to kind of be like, well, was I in the middle of this movie? Was I at the end? Because unlike DVDs and Blu-rays, guys, if there's young kids watching, you could tell where you were at in the movie just by looking at the VHS. So that's kind of cool. I think it's cool. But let's move on to the next one, guys. This is another classic film, Francis Ford Coppola film. Actually, not the only Francis Ford Coppola VHS that I have. This is Apocalypse Now, and this was one that I haven't owned since I was a kid. I did not watch this as a kid, but I grabbed it at a Goodwill a couple of years ago. I don't know. I haven't really been buying a lot of VHSs lately, but I was on a VHS kick there for a little bit. Every cool VHS tape that I found at a Goodwill, I went ahead and bought, because it's only $1. Why not? It looks cool. Next one up, guys. This is a classic Eddie Murphy movie from my childhood. I did enjoy this first movie. Now the sequel's not so much. Pretty much the same as The Nutty Professor. But Dr. Dolittle. I remember enjoying this movie quite a bit. It wasn't as good as The Nutty Professor, but I remember liking this movie. Eddie Murphy's great in it. It's got a great cast, got a great soundtrack with that Aaliyah song. Fantastic soundtrack. Love Dr. Dolittle. So I hope it gets a Blu-ray. Does it have a Blu-ray release? Somebody comment down below, but hopefully it gets a Blu-ray release in the future, and I see it out in stores or something, because I'll definitely grab that. This one is interesting because it's still in like a tape, or like a tape box. But it's a VHS tape inside of an actual movie. And when I opened it up to look inside, I laughed. I chuckled to myself, because it's Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo. I don't know why I don't have the actual case to it, but I just have this generic taped case. So I do own Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo, but apparently I got rid of the case. I don't know why. It just happened. Next up, guys, this is one of my favorite disaster movies of all time. I think second only to Twister. Dante's Peak with Linda Hamilton, Pierce Brosnan. I watched this movie earlier this year at the start of the pandemic, when I was reviewing like all 1997 movies. I love this movie. It still holds up to me. The disaster sequences, they're a little bit dated, but still fantastic. I love everything about this movie. I know that the grandma jumping in the acid, that's a little ridiculous, but the movie as a whole just is really well done. And I appreciate this movie. It's great. I love the tension building aspects of it, and the performances. Pierce Brosnan's fantastic. This is right in the middle of his GoldenEye 007 run, so he's great in the movie. Linda Hamilton's great in the movie. Love Dante's Peak. All right, guys, another classic that I haven't seen, and I own it on VHS because I got it at a Goodwill. Like I said, I'm gonna go over which ones I've owned my whole life and which ones I got at Goodwill. And this is The Green Mile with Tom Hanks. Haven't seen this movie. I know it's a crime that I haven't seen this movie. This is on a lot of people's like top movies of all time. So I need to check out Green Mile at some point for sure. Next up, we're going to get into some comedies here, guys, because when I was a kid, teenager, early 20s, like comedy was at one point, along with horror, my favorite genre. I loved comedies, and it breaks my heart every single day that we don't get great comedies like we did back in the 90s, early mid 2000s. So let's go back to better times and talk about some comedies here, because I have a great Adam Sandler romantic comedy. His best with Drew Barrymore, in my opinion, and that's The Wedding Singer. I love The Wedding Singer, and I really need to rewatch it. I need to grab it on Blu-ray if I get the chance, but such a good movie. I love this movie. Amazing soundtrack, set in the 80s. Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore had such great chemistry in this movie that they went on to make like 3 other movies together. None of them were as good. I mean, the 51st Dates gets pretty close. But definitely not as good as this. I love this movie. It's a classic, probably my favorite romantic comedy of all time, The Wedding Singer. Next up, guys, we got Can't Hardly Wait. This is a really fun teen comedy that I used to love when I was a teenager. So I actually have a Blu-ray copy of it. I remember it came out a few years ago. I had a really cool slipcover, so I went ahead and grabbed it. But yeah, this is really fun. Jennifer Love Hewitt, like in her prime. Ethan Embry, great cast in this movie. You got Seth Green playing with the goggles. He's like a gangster wannabe hipster. He's hilarious in the movie. I love it. But can't hardly wait. It's a classic teen comedy. Next up, guys, we got, I'm going to go ahead and show these both to you. We got Austin Powers International Man of Mystery and Austin Powers The Spy Who Shagged Me. Two VHS tapes that I have owned since I was a kid. Loved both of these movies. Watched them both repeatedly. Although I did watch this one probably quite a bit more. I love Spy Who Shagged Me. That's one of my favorite comedies when I was a teenager. Rewatch this one constantly. Absolutely hilarious. It brings in Fat Bastard, Mini-Me, so many added elements to this one. So this one's definitely superior in my opinion to Man of Mystery, but Man of Mystery is really fun too. And Heather Graham in this movie, man, I can't say enough about Heather Graham in The Spy Who Shagged Me. Go watch The Spy Who Shagged Me if you haven't seen it. Yeah, that's the Austin Powers film. Don't have Goldmember on VHS though. But I've only seen Goldmember like one time, so gonna take a little drink before I get to this next one, guys, because I heard that your sister was going out with Squeak. Basketball is the next movie I'm going to talk about, guys. The creators of South Park back in the day used to make movies, used to make comedies. They had Orgasmo, they had Basketball. Of course, they had South Park Bigger, Longer, Uncut. I believe they made one more movie, if I'm not mistaken, but Basketball I loved. Another one that I watched over and over again, repeatedly. I love this movie. Could quote this movie to a T. And it brings all the great humor from South Park, all the Trey Parker, Matt Stone sensibilities to this fake sport that they created, which was such a good idea for like a sport and a movie. So to me, like, even though basketball is not a real sport, this is one of the best sports movies of all time. And I really want to rewatch it because it's been years, but I love this movie for sure. And you're going to keep hearing me say that. I love this movie. I love it, especially with the ones that I've had since I was a kid, because these are literally like me reminiscing on how I fell in love with movies. So yeah, basketball is great. I love basketball. Next up, guys. Now, this is one that is a classic from my childhood that I did watch when I was a kid, but I bought it at a Goodwill like a couple of years ago when I saw it, and that's Vacation. Of course, Christmas Vacation is superior. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite Christmas movie of all time. But Vacation is really great, right there behind it as far as the Vacation movies for sure. And this is awesome cover. I love this cover with Chevy Chase on it. Next up, guys, we have Night at the Roxbury. What is the... Maybe I'll add the music right here and get the video demonetized. No, I'm probably not going to do that. But I know people say that this isn't the best movie and that it's basically just an extended SNL sketch, which it is. I find this movie, and I just rewatched it like a year ago, I found it so hilarious. I laughed consistently through the whole film. Chris Kattan, to me, Will Ferrell's great. He's the one that went on to have the best career. Chris Kattan overshadows Will Ferrell in this movie, in my opinion. He is so funny in this movie. It's unbelievable. I love everything about this movie. The music, just the chemistry between them two. So many. Another one that I could just quote endlessly. Boo! 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 Steve! Yeah, I can't go too loud because I got family upstairs. But anyway, let's move on to the next stat, guys, because we're moving into some other classic films. We got The Breakfast Club. And yeah, I do own this on VHS because this was one that I watched a lot in high school. I mean, this is kind of like the high school movie is when I really got into it. Weird Science was always my favorite John Hughes movie growing up. Just because of the themes of that movie, I think were a lot more close to my heart as far as being like a younger boy, just the themes of that film. But I love The Breakfast Club. It's definitely my second favorite John Hughes movie. It's one of the best films, 80s films of all time. Came out the year I was born. So yeah, fantastic movie is The Breakfast Club. Another one that I watched, I believe earlier this year, still great, still holds up. All right, guys, next up, another Francis Ford Coppola movie, The Godfather. And this is, back when movies were just too damn long to fit on one VHS tape. They put them in two, and this is one of the first of many 2-packs that I'm going to be showing off in this collection. And yeah, I've seen The Godfather, but I have not seen Godfather Part 2 yet. And this is because it's still in the wrap. You guessed it. I bought this at a Goodwill about a year or so ago. So I own The Godfather on VHS. Definitely cool. Like I said, I just like when I go out and see these classic movies on VHS, I can't help myself just to buy them. I don't know. I'm weird like that, I guess. Another one, guys, another 2-pack, because this movie's incredibly long. Another one I watched this year is The Deer Hunter, because they had that Shout Factory 4K release. Great 4K transfer, but the movie, I didn't love it. Great cast, though, with, Meryl Streep, Christopher Walken, Robert De Niro, of course. But I didn't love the movie like I was hoping I would. So that's Deer Hunter. Moving on to the next one, guys. This was one I found at Goodwill, and that's Lord of the Rings. Because I used to own all of these on DVD, but I sold all my DVDs like a couple of years ago and transitioned to Blu-ray. Wish I would have kept them all, but I didn't. I've been slowly trying to rebuild that collection for years. But Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring on VHS, I found it at Goodwill, so I bought it. Classic movie. And we're getting ready to get the 4Ks of those. Actually, by the time this video goes up, the 4Ks will be out. So that's pretty cool that I get to show that off. Next one up, guys, is another one I found at a Goodwill because I didn't grow up with these movies. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones. Like I said, I didn't grow up with these movies. I'm not a big Indiana Jones fan. Admittedly, I've only seen them one time each. I need to go back and rewatch them because I was a teenager when I saw them. But definitely cool. Like I said, when I see these classic movies in the VHS form out in the wild, I can't help myself. I just got to grab them. So that was one I grabbed. This next few in the pile are all ones that I've owned forever. All ones that I love. So let's get into them. Another great, I don't know if I would call this a disaster film, more like a space action epic, and that's Armageddon, directed by Michael Bay. This is one of Michael Bay's best movies, in my opinion. I know people, it's goofy. It definitely has its more laughable aspects. I think that Deep Impact is a better movie. This one is a lot funner, it has better characters in it. Bruce Willis, Ben Affleck, Liv Tyler, Steve Buscemi. So many great characters in this movie. So much fun dialogue. So much comedy wrapped around this horrible scenario that's going on. It's Armageddon. It's the end of the world, but they're all cracking jokes and one-liners and being silly. And it's just a really fun movie that I enjoy. This is one I need to revisit again. In the same way that Independence Day is just a fun kind of disaster film. This one's kind of in the same way. So definitely love Armageddon for sure. Next one up, guys, we got Joe Dirt. Joe Dirt. This is one that I came to a little bit later in life, and I love this movie. It's super funny. I never saw Joe Dirt Part 2 because that kind of reminded me of like a Zoolander 2 or a Dumb and Dumber 2. It just felt like it was going to ruin the original, so I never saw it because I want my love for the original to be preserved. So Joe Dirt is a great standalone film, and I won't recognize that it has a sequel. Next up, guys, this is probably my second favorite Adam Sandler comedy. It's his first real big comedy, and that's Billy Madison. I love Billy Madison. This is probably the first Adam Sandler movie that I ever watched. Of course, I used to watch SNL a lot when I was a kid, so I saw him on there. This is the first Adam Sandler movie, standalone movie comedy that I saw of him. And after that, Happy Gilmore, Wedding Singer, Waterboy, his whole great career started with this movie. It's a really fun movie. I love Billy Madison. Great movie. Next one up, guys. This is one of my top 50 movies of all time. It's written by Quentin Tarantino, directed by Robert Rodriguez, starring George Clooney, Juliette Lewis, Harvey Keitel. It's like a horror thriller, a lot of things, a monster movie mashed into one, From Dusk Till Dawn. Such a smart script, such a smart premise for a movie. It's one of those movies that you think it's one thing and then halfway through it changes to something completely different, and it's just one of the most mind-blowing films I saw. I saw this movie when I was probably 11 or 12. And it just blew my mind that they could even make movies like this. I love this movie. George Clooney, To me, I know he's done tons of great stuff. To me, this is his best performance. This is the performance I love the most from him. He's so cool and charismatic as this character. This is a movie I watched again like earlier this year. Still love it. Still great. Still fantastic. Love Dusk Till Dawn. Another classic alien invasion disaster flick, Independence Day. And unfortunately, guys, I don't have I thought this would have like a lenticular with the White House blowing up. I thought I remembered having that. And it's very possible that that was like glued on and maybe it like fell off or something. But yeah, this is a great film right here. Roland Emmerich film, disaster film from the 90s. I watched this one on Independence Day this year. Had a great time. Hadn't revisited it in years. It still holds up. It's still fun. Again, like Armageddon, it's a little goofy. It's a little tongue-in-cheek, but I still enjoy this one quite a bit. Let's see where I was at. Actually, guys, look. It's in the freaking tape. It's like an extra card that came inside the VHS tape. And it looks like I rewound this one, actually. So yeah, that's cool. You see the White House blowing up? Can you imagine if I just did this for the rest of the video? Would you all still watch? Will my watch time go down? Sorry, guys. It's a little bit late right now that I'm filming. I might be a little goofy for parts of this video. But that's okay, guys. Let's go on to the next one, guys. We got Wayne's World, Party Time, excellent. All right, so Wayne's World is in my top 25 movies of all time. One of my favorite comedies of all time. And it's fantastic. If you guys haven't seen Wayne's World, it's one of the smartest 90s comedies. And we talked about Night at the Roxbury being like an SNL sketch. This one is like that too, but it's also a great movie in its own right. They really open up the world of Wayne and Garth in their TV show. And yeah, this is just, it's so freaking good. I watched it like last year, I think, again. Holds up like incredibly well. It's meta. Back before a lot of people were doing the meta stuff. You know, they break the fourth wall a lot, and it's just a hilarious movie. I love this movie. My favorite scene's like the product placement scene where he's eating the Doritos and the Pepsi. And it's the choice of a new generation. It's just, it's so good. I love Wayne's World. Another great comedy, guys. These are all bangers right here. Everything I'm going through is a freaking banger. There's Something About Mary. This great Farrelly Brothers comedy from 1998. Ben Stiller, one of his first great movies. First time he went on the map for me. Cameron Diaz, you know, to me, there's another movie in this stack that she was more mind-blowing in as far as like looks and appearance. We'll get to that in a second, but she's such a gorgeous actress from back in the day. It's a shame she doesn't act anymore. But yeah, this is a great comedy. This fantastic comedy that still holds up. Loves Something About Mary. And you'll find this in every single Goodwill across the entire U.S. That is Titanic. And this is not one that I found at a Goodwill. I have had this VHS tape since 1997 when it came out on VHS. So yeah, I'm proud of that fact that this is not a Goodwill purchase. This is this is the set that I've owned for forever. And right there, guys, you got, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet embracing on the ship. And then you got them sinking into the cold Arctic Ocean right there. So, yeah, Titanic is another one I watched earlier this year. And I was a little disappointed. It didn't hold up as far as like performance-wise like I was hoping it would. The action and the whole disaster sequence with the ship sinking, still fantastic. Like James Cameron just directed the shit out of this film. But the performances didn't hold up like I wanted it to. Kathy Bates is the only one that really still holds up. So let's get into the next stack, guys. We got some DC movies here, and I was surprised that I actually had all four of the 89 to 90s Batman movies, but I do have the Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson Batman. And if you're wondering what this sticker is, so my grandfather actually owned this and gave it to me, and I still have this on here. I don't know why I never ripped it off, but so, I mean, that's cool. That's really cool that I still have this sticker with his name on it on Batman. How cool is that? Next up, guys, we have Batman Returns. I I go back and forth on which one I like more, Batman Returns or Batman 89. They're both super different, very different films. But I love them both. I love this 90s Batman. Michael Keaton, to me, will forever be my Batman. I know Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, everybody creams their pants over those two, but Michael Keaton is just the definitive Batman to me. For some reason, I have Batman Returns in this weird, like, it's like a rental case. And I don't know if it's because where I got it, because it's a used movie. I don't know who got this for me, but yeah, I got Batman Returns in this weird rental case, and all the rest of them are in regular VHS covers. Next up, we got Batman Forever, which, say what you want about this one. It's a fun Batman movie. It didn't go like completely off the rails like the next one I'll talk about, and that's Batman and Robin. But I actually rewatched this one earlier this year, and it held up just as horrible as you could imagine. It's not good at all, but it's fun to watch. I mean, it's, you know, tongue-in-cheek, goofy shit. The thing about this movie is it's not intentionally bad. It's just bad, but it's funny because it's not intentionally bad, if that makes any sense. But Batman Forever is, I wouldn't say it's a great Batman movie. It's passable, though, as a Batman movie. It is goofy, too. You know, the people that say that Batman Forever is so much better than Batman and Robins, I don't get, because tonally, they're almost pretty much the same. It's just Batman Forever has Jim Carrey in it, and Val Kilmer is a better Batman than George Clooney too. But Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face is completely ridiculous. This next one, I don't even know why I own this. I think I got it at Goodwill. This is Abbott and Costello Goes to Mars. So Abbott and Costello makes an appearance in my VHS catalog here today, guys. Next up, guys, we have a Brian De Palma film. This is one I did get at a Goodwill, and that's Body Double. So yeah, again, I don't know why I bought Body Double, because I've never seen this movie. 1984, so I do want to watch this movie, but I want to watch it in a Blu-ray release. So I might get the Indicator release, I think, is who has Body Double. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. Another one I got at a Goodwill, guys, this is Mighty Python and the Holy Grail. And I know I've seen this, but it's been a long time. I know a lot of people love this movie. It is on Netflix, so I might have to check it out at some point. Next up, guys, and I actually have an Arrow video box set of this movie, but this is 12 Monkeys from, I believe, 1995 with Bruce Willis, Brad Pitt. So excellent sci-fi movie. It's been a while since I've seen this one too, but I need to rewatch it. Probably in that Arrow video that I have over there. Jurassic Park, guys. Again, one of my top 15 favorite movies of all time. Steven Spielberg classic. Love Jurassic Park. Love this simple cover. And again, I've had this since probably 1993. Because this is a movie I saw in theaters. I saw it in theaters when I was like 7 or 8. And yeah, I got the VHS and I wore this sucker out. Watched Jurassic Park so many times when I was a kid. One of my favorite movies of all time. Next up, guys, we got The Lost World, the sequel to Jurassic Park. This is a really cool lenticular color. Look at that. Wah! He's coming to get you. Wah! Wah! That's a really cool cover, actually. Lenticular covers, they just don't get enough credit. They don't get the respect they deserve, in my opinion. Next up, guys, we have Men in Black with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. Another great classic sci-fi comedy. The first Men in Black is fantastic. You can say what you want about the sequels. I think the third one's okay. Second one's not great. The Chris Hemsworth one sure as hell isn't good. But this definitely holds up. I love the first Men in Black. Another classic teen comedy, guys. Varsity Blues was a film that I watched over and over and over again when I was like 14 or 15. I loved this movie. I just loved like teen movies when I was a teenager. Imagine that, a teenager likes teen movies. It makes sense, right? But Varsity Blues just felt like it was something a little extra. It was a little bit more. It was a little dramatic. It had a lot of really good performance. I thought James Van Der Beek really acted his ass off in this movie. I thought John Voight was fantastic. A lot of good performances in this movie. This is one I need to rewatch again because it's been a while since I've seen it. But just a great movie. I love this movie, especially the whipped cream bikini that Chris Evans actually parodies in Not Another Teen Movie. And this is where I fell in love with Cameron Diaz right here. And of course, Jim Carrey's phenomenal in this movie too. But this is The Mask. I think I was probably like 7 or 8 when I saw this movie, and Cameron Diaz made my little 7 or 8-year-old self be like, hey, girls, those are a thing. I could actually like those. I couldn't imagine before I saw Cameron Diaz in this movie. But yeah, I love The Mask. One of my favorite Jim Carrey movies. It's probably not like top 3, but it's definitely a classic. I love The Mask. Great movie. Yeah, basically a superhero movie before there were superhero films. Next one up, guys, and I feel like I mentioned The Craft having the VHS in like a video I did a couple of weeks ago, but I do actually have the VHS of The Craft. So I wish I had a DVD or Blu-ray so I could watch it, but I know Scream Factory has a awesome Blu-ray set that I need to check out. But I really enjoyed The Craft. I watched a lot. I know it was one of my sister's favorite films. I don't know if she's going to watch this video or not, but I know she really liked the movie a lot. So I remember watching it with her. And I watched it a few times on my own probably as well. This is another kind of teen supernatural. I wouldn't call this like full-fledged horror, but it definitely gets there towards the end. But yeah, I really enjoyed The Craft. It was one of Neve Campbell's first movies. I don't know if this came out like before, the same year, after Scream, but it was around the same time. But everybody's good in this movie. It's a really good movie. I don't even really want to watch the one that just came out, but no denying that the original Craft is great. 90s movie. Next up, guys, another great 90s movie. It's a Best Picture winner from 1994. A lot of people still argue about this one, and that is Forrest Gump winning Best Picture in 1994 versus the likes of Pulp Fiction and Shawshank Redemption. A lot of the movies that people say are way better. But yeah, I love Forrest Gump, man. People that hate on this movie, they're not good people. And I'm sorry if you don't like Forrest Gump, but comment down below. And tell me why you're a terrible person, because Forrest Gump, like, how do you not like this movie? It's just so good. Next up, guys, I used to love this movie too. I watched it all the time. High Fidelity, one I need to rewatch again, actually. John Cusack, his first, like, I know he was like an 80s star. He did like Say Anything and stuff like that. But it felt like his like reemergence into like the film scene, because he did this and Grosse Pointe Blank. I actually forgot I had this on VHS, but definitely a great movie I used to watch all the time. Loved High Fidelity. Next up, guys, we got Airheads. Adam Sandler, Brendan Fraser, Steve Buscemi. And I think this was before Happy Gilmore. I could be wrong, but one of Adam Sandler's earlier films. And this is one I didn't watch often. I've probably seen it like maybe 2 or 3 times. It's been a long time, so I don't remember much about it, but I do remember enjoying it. All right, guys, so continuing the video, I'm gonna have to start speeding this up or I'm gonna have to do a part 2 or something. But let's get into my Star Wars collection. So this one I actually found at a Goodwill for 15 bucks. And this is the original unaltered Star Wars movies on VHS, still in the plastic. So I went ahead and picked this up because I wanted this set. And then I have the other one right here, the special editions one. Now this is the one I actually got when I was a kid. Because when I first got into Star Wars, it was with the special editions one. Like, I had seen Return of the Jedi when I was a kid, but when I was 12, I went to the theater and saw all 3 special edition movies and fell in love with Star Wars then. So this is a really cool set. This is a gold one. I think they had a silver one as well, but this set is awesome right here. You have all 3 of the movies on the inside of it. I won't bother breaking them out of their cases. But yeah, really cool set right here. Back when they used to do VHS box sets. I know they do a lot of Blu-ray box sets, but they did VHS box sets back in the day as well. And right here we have a Phantom Menace, guys. This classic from 1999, one of 1999's best films right here for sure, with a best supporting performance. Jar Jar Binks should have definitely won for Best Supporting Actor in this movie. He is fantastic. But yeah, this is Phantom Menace. Say what you want about the prequels. I enjoy Phantom Menace. I think the pod racing scene is fantastic. It has maybe the best lightsaber fight in the entire franchise. So I do enjoy Phantom Menace. And it's not a great movie. It's definitely got cheesy parts, but I enjoyed the movie. All right, guys. So let's get into some of my horror releases right here. And I could probably go through these pretty quick because I've talked about a lot of them on this channel already, especially through the horror season and my horror recommendations. But first one up, guys, we have Nightmare on Elm Street, the VHS tape. Right here, guys, the original Nightmare on Elm Street VHS tape. This is a really cool back right here. I like it with the Freddy on the bed on fire. So Nightmare on Elm Street, classic horror movie. It's one of my favorites. Another favorite Nightmare on Elm Street film is Dream Warriors, and I've showed this off as well on one of my shows on here. I think my recommendations video, but definitely, I go back and forth between the first one and this one, like which one's my favorite of the franchise. Such a great movie. It's like X-Men meets Freddy Krueger. Love this movie. And I don't know why I have this on VHS. I only have 3 Nightmare on Elm Street on VHS. The first one, the third one, and I have Freddy's Dead. Don't ask me why. I need to rewatch this one though, because I think a lot of people are harder on it than it deserves, because I actually remember enjoying the movie. Maybe that's why I have it on VHS. I don't know. Next up, guys, we got The Stand. Stephen King's The Stand. I think I found this at a Goodwill or something. But it's one of these 2-packs. So this is like a 4.5 hour long movie. I know they released a Blu-ray like a year or so ago. But I have the VHS copy and I'm proud of it. Damn it. All right, guys, next up we got Urban Legends, that classic 90s slasher that kind of took its inspiration from Scream. After Scream, every movie was trying to be Scream. This is another kind of Scream knockoff, but I enjoy this one. Another classic. I just picked both of these up from my thrift shop. You can check out in one of my thrifting videos. I think it was my thrifting video 2. I got Dracula and Night of the Living Dead. Both awesome covers on these two for sure. I'm really excited about that Bela Lugosi Dracula. That's a great cover. And I found this at a Goodwill a couple of years ago, and that's The Shining on VHS. I just had to have it because I had that classic image of Jack Nicholson, and I love it. This is actually, if you follow me on Instagram, and like a lot of the Blu-ray shots I do on there, you can see this in the background. I actually do it kind of on purpose because I just want Jack Torrance in the background of every single Blu-ray shot I do. I think it's funny. So he usually goes up there on my shelf, so you can see this. If you look on like 90% of my Blu-ray shots, you will see Jack Nicholson in the background, and I just want everybody to know it's intentional. So there you go. Next up, guys, I rewatched this one again this year. This really held up for me. This is one of probably like my top 3 Tim Burton films. I love this movie, Sleepy Hollow. Just a great Tim Burton movie. This is so gory. It's probably his goriest films. Again, I haven't seen Sweeney Todd. I heard that's kind of gory as well. But this is what I would call like Tim Burton's first pure horror film. You know, he's always like delved into darker areas with his cinema. But this is like a full-fledged horror movie. Great Halloween movie. It's got a great Halloween feel to it. And I love this movie. I love the story. I love Johnny Depp. The performance of Christina Ricci. Everybody's great in this movie. Christopher Walken's a little ridiculous. But, you know, it's Christopher Walken. What are you going to do? Next up, we got Leprechaun, me dear. We got the Leprechaun. This is Jennifer Aniston's like first film. So it's iconic for that. Other than that, it's not a great movie. I do remember enjoying it when I was a kid, though, but it does not hold up at all. None of the Leprechaun movies do, in my opinion. Next up, we got another Peter Jackson film, and it's not Lord of the Rings. It's from 1996, starring Michael J. Fox, and that is The Frighteners. Frighteners is terribly underrated and underseen. I've met so many people that have never even heard of this movie. They don't remember it, and this was like one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. I rewatched this one all the time. Just how they portrayed hell and heaven and like ghosts and stuff like that, I thought was so cool. Super underrated. If you have not seen The Frighteners, please seek this movie out. I need to put it in one of my recommendation videos because it's just one of the most underrated movies of all time. And if you're a Peter Jackson fan with his films, like, you got to watch this one. I love The Frighteners. This is one I haven't seen in a while, and that's The Crow. Obviously, it's famous for Brandon Lee's death and, you know, the tragic events that happened on set, but it's also on a lot of people's like top movies of the 90s as far as like horror, dark thrillers. So comic book movies as well, because it is a comic book movie. So it's one that I've been needing to rewatch for a long time now because I haven't seen it since I was younger. This one I think I found at a Goodwill like a couple of years ago, and I picked it up randomly for some reason, knowing that there's no possible way I'll ever put this in and rewatch it because I didn't really like the movie when it came out. For some reason I bought it though. Teaching Mrs. Tingle. I remember this movie being sold as this kind of came out in the Dimension Scream era as well, but it's not really a slasher. It's this weird movie about a bunch of teens like taking care or kidnapping a teacher that's giving them bad grades or something like that. I don't know, but it's a weird premise. It's a weird movie. It's got Katie Holmes in it, so you know, do what you will with it. But Teaching Mrs. Tingle, that's one you can forget about from the 90s. And I've said it numerous times. I do like It 2017, and I actually like It 2019, the chapter 2, a little bit better. That's a hot take, I know. But the miniseries from the 90s, and I'm actually surprised this isn't on 2 VHSs. The miniseries from the 90s is my favorite adaptation of this Stephen King novel. I love Tim Curry in this movie. Again, I have owned this VHS since I was probably like 10. This is one of the first horror movies I ever watched, I ever got into. I loved it, watched it all the time. I love the characters in it. I love the kid performances. I love the adults in it. They all feel like those characters. I read Stephen King's It when I was like 11 or 12, after I saw this movie, of course. Just when I was watching it and I was reading that book, and those characters in this movie are the characters in the book. I can't read the book. I can't think about these characters without thinking about these actors. Maybe they're not the best actors. Maybe they're TV actors, whatever. They're one and the same to me. They're in the same group. They are the characters. So I love them as those characters. Love the kids. Love Seth Green. Jonathan Brandis does such a great job in this movie. And of course, Tim Curry is iconic as Pennywise. Not taking away anything from Bill Skarsgård. He does a good job, but it's all CGI effects and bullshit. This is all practical, so well done, and his performance is so eerie and scary, and I love this one. Take it to my grave. I love It, the miniseries from the 90s, better than the new ones. Next up, guys, and I actually made a joke of all 4 of these films on Instagram before the Friday the 13th box set came out. I posted an image of all 3 of these, and I was like, oh, I'm so happy to have my box set in, because I was waiting on it from Scream Factory for so long. But I got all these in. I got part 2 right here. I don't know why I don't have like more of these. Part 3, I remember I took this over to a buddy's house to watch it, and his dog chewed the case. So that's a fun little memory right there. And I got Jason Lives. And I got one of my favorites of the franchise. Another hot take. Jason Goes to Hell. Love it. I love the embossing on it too, because you got that snake coming out, or worm, whatever, coming out of the hockey mask. Very cool. Very cool. Next one up is Prom Night with Jamie Lee Curtis. Classic horror film from the 80s. And we got the original Hellraiser. Love Hellraiser. Love Hellraiser 2. These are perfect double feature right here, in my opinion. You can stop right here when you finish Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2. No reason to go any further than that. Which brings me to Hellraiser 3. I own that on VHS as well. This is okay, but honestly, it's you don't need to watch it. And definitely don't need to watch any of the sequels. This is the best out of all the shitty sequels. I will say that about it. Next up, let's get to The Omen. Classic film, Gregory Peck, directed by Richard Donner. I got the Omen box set from the Scream Factory, so great horror film from the 70s. And this is a classic from the 90s, guys. One of my favorite horror movies of all time, one of my favorite slashers of all time, and one of my favorite final girls of all time. That is Scream. Just such a good movie. Believe the hype. If you've never seen this movie before, if you think it's overhyped, if you think too many people talk about it, it's for a reason. This movie is just a masterpiece. It changed the game in horror in the 90s. Horror was essentially dead. This movie brought it back. So for that, it's a masterpiece. It's classic. Scream 3. I don't have Scream 2. I think I bought this at a Goodwill. So that's why I still have it. So yeah, Scream 3, but no Scream 2. Scream 3 is all right. I like Scream 3. Scream is one of those franchises that, to me, like, it doesn't really have a bad movie. There's no bad movie in the Scream franchise. Next up, guys, we got Halloween. Top 10 movie of all time for me. Love the original Halloween. This one's cool because it has like this blockbuster like border on it. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of nostalgic for that. Next up, this is another one that seems like it got chewed up, but Halloween 2 on VHS. Got that one. All these I've owned forever. This one's very sentimental to me, at least as for my love for Halloween, because this is the first Halloween film I ever watched. I was gifted this VHS tape on Christmas. My uncle or somebody got this for me on Christmas because they knew I liked horror, because I was a big like Freddy Krueger, Jason fan, but I'd never seen Michael Myers at this point. So I was like 11 or 12 when I got this tape. And I absolutely fell in love with Michael Myers, the character, the music, the franchise, and then I went back and watched the first one and the second one and became an even bigger fan of Halloween, and that became my favorite horror franchise after that. Next up, guys, we got Halloween 5. Say what you want about this one. I enjoy Halloween 5. and they didn't use the mask on the cover of it for obvious reasons, because that's what he looks like in the movie. It's like nightmare fuel, and not in a good way. But I don't know. The mask is okay. The movie's okay. I like the movie. Hot take, I know. A movie that I don't like in the franchise is Curse of Michael Myers. Definitely not a good movie. And it's funny because I actually have the poster of it up there on my wall because somebody gifted it to me a few years ago, framed already. So I went ahead and put it up because it has Michael Myers on it. It's a cool poster. It's a cool image. So yeah, Curse of Michael Myers, not a fan of it. Paul Rudd's in it. I love Paul Rudd, but he's not good in this movie. Not his fault. It's just not a good movie. Next up, this is one that I remember liking more than when I went back and rewatched it, because it's funny because Scream kind of took inspiration from Halloween, and this movie took inspiration from Scream. It was in that Scream era, so it copied some things from Scream, so it was like art imitating art. I didn't like it as much as I thought I did when I rewatched it, so I'm kind of losing my voice here, guys. I've been talking for a long time. I'll take another drink, but I'm chewing through the pile here. I've only got one pile left, and then we're going to be done with this video, and it'll be a nice, clean, probably like 53-minute video, 55, I don't know, somewhere around there. I didn't remember having this, but this is Dinosaurs. Y'all remember this show from the 90s? I love this show. I watch the show all the time. Not the mama, I got it. Apparently this is like, I don't know if this is like a season or just like one episode or 3 episodes or what, but I have Dinosaurs. So that's pretty cool. Next few guys are some random wrestling VHSs. So I only bought a few of these because when I was younger, I was a huge wrestling fan. But I'm not going to show you all these like recorded VHS tapes that I have, because I literally have boxes upon boxes of VHS tapes that I recorded pay-per-views on, back when you put the tape in the VCR and you hit record to record like your favorite programming on TV. So I've got boxes of like old taped pay-per-views from the 90s and early 2000s as far as wrestling. But these are the VHSs that I bought. I bought the Lita VHS because I was in love with Lita back in the early 2000s. So yeah, the Lita VHS, her story, I bought that. And I still own it. King of the Ring, 1998. And if you don't remember, if you're a wrestling fan at all, if you don't remember King of the Ring 1998, this is the one with Mankind and The Undertaker Hell in a Cell match where he throws Mankind off of Hell in a Cell. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, you probably know that. It's an iconic moment in wrestling history. So also has Stone Cold versus Kane in the King of the Ring tournament. So great pay-per-view right there. I got this random Before They Were Superstars Part 2. Which actually has Brock Lesnar right there, who became a big star, Rob Van Dam, a lot of people on this one. And I got a Chris Jericho VHS right here, Break the Walls Down. So that's all my wrestling VHSs though. And next up we got South Park, Volume 2. These were these South Park ones back when I was a big South Park fan, like in the early days, the first couple seasons really. I think this is taken from, I believe, the first season. This is Volume 2. I have Volume 1 right here as well. And I have Volume 3. And those are the only South Park VHSs I ever bought. So that's pretty cool. The last 3 guys, and these are actually pretty cool. This is a good moment or a good spot to end on with these. Goosebumps, I used to love, read all the books when I was a kid. And when the actual show started, of course I was here for it. So I got these 3 Goosebumps films on these VHS clamshells. So if anybody remembers those, I got Goosebumps, The Haunted Mask. I got Goosebumps, Stay Out of the Basement. And I got Goosebumps, A Night in Terror Tower. So yeah, definitely cool releases right there. So with that, guys, I am done. I'm exhausted. I went through all of my VHS tapes, so I definitely appreciate it. For those that are sticking around to watch this entire video, please drop me a like. Please comment down below just what you thought of all these movies. Like, what do you have fond memories of? Did you own any of these on VHS yourself? I would love to hear about that stuff. Is everybody that watches my videos like 20 or younger and doesn't even know what a VHS tape is? Also comment that down below. I would love to hear about it. Also, if you're just now discovering me, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Like I said, like the video, comment down below. I'm gonna go ahead and reveal what my next collection video will be. That will be dropping this Saturday on my channel. I will be showing off my entire Xbox collection. Yes, Xbox, Xbox 360, and Xbox One from all three consoles. I will be showing off all three of those collections. And I used to be a pretty big gamer, so I do have an extensive Xbox collection. So that'll be my first big piece of gaming content on this channel. So that will be interesting to see how that video does. But definitely appreciate you guys watching this video, sticking with me for this long. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on bell notifications for all future videos. And we'll see you next time.